भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्सुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्सुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः.
The hospital, Om Sai Ram. The hospital was built in the inspiring presence of Baba, who supervised every bit of the work of constructions and equipment. The doctors standing in long queues all along the slope of the hill passed from hand to hand metal, stones, bricks, water, mud or wet earth, mortar, in fact, everything needed for raising the structure that dominates the landscape today. On the first annual day of the hospital, when the medical officer in charge spoke of the many miraculous recoveries that had happened through the blessings of Baba, Baba said that it was more due to the spirit of love and service with which every stone and brick of the building was saturated. Baba himself visits the hospital, going round the wards, persuading the villagers to swallow the medicines and undergo the prick or cut. And by the awareness of his words and the healing influence of his looks, hastening recovery. Baba also has often things, many things to teach the doctors in charge, for he is himself the great physician and the great surgeon. He also gives practical advice to the maintenance of mental equanimity and physical wholesomeness by means of japam and dhyanam, which keep the entire personality in good trim. The case reports being published in Sanada Dharma Sarati of and on are invaluable for medical practitioners, for they reveal how long-standing and desperate illnesses are cured by the healing influence of the divine grace that presides over this hospital. While ardent devotees of Baba are content to leave the welfare of their physical frames to his will, there are some who, on his advice, take as a curative the vibhuti that he gives or the medical treatment that he recommends. For as Baba says, he does not have the same prescription for all, just as a doctor might recommend 4 different types of treatment for 4 different patients suffering from stomachache: salts for the ache due to constipation, mixture for the ache due to gastric disorder, ointment or poultice for another, and an immediate operation for the main cause of appendicitis. So Baba too recommends different remedies for different patients. He is the greatest physician of all. To the right and left of Nilayam, beyond the garden and at the back of the building, there are a number of tenements, single room and double roomed, where bhaktas have taken residence. When those to whom the tenants are assigned are away, they can make use of by others who come to Puttaparthi. But Baba directs and guides every item of work at the Nilayam. His command is awaited with eagerness by all, for it is best that it is so. Baba is naturally an expert gardener, as it is evidenced by the personal interest he takes in the plants and trees of the garden of the Nilayam. While traveling by car and seeking some place to take breakfast or lunch, he spots out locations which are gem of beauty among the eucalyptic slopes of Nilgiri, of Kodaikanal hills, the pine corridors of Kashmir, the arid plains of Bellary, the green carpet of Srinagapatnam, the coastal palm gardens of Kerala, the Palmyra avenues of Tinvali, the canal bank near Samarkand, or the igneous fields of Rajpur. He will draw attention of those around him to a beautiful sunset or sunrise, the captivating panorama of a clouded sky, or a ring around the moon. Adam Anandam is a statement often on his lips, meaning beauty is bliss. He is also a great lover of cattle, the cowshed of Prasanthi Nilayam being a model for the riots of the surrounding villages. He spends many hours with the crowd, feeding and nursing them. He decorates them on Pongal Day, and he has a scintillating stock of ornamental pieces for the purpose. He had a horse also for some time, as well as stags and deers and peacocks and rabbits, which were blessed to receive his loving touch and tenderness. He also had a number of dogs as his pets. The story of these dogs will itself make an interesting episode of Lord's Care and Mercy. Jack and Jill, two Pomeranians from Uttarakhand, were the earliest of the canine pets. Baba said that they used to fast every Thursday by some holy samskara of the past birth, and they never could be induced to consume flesh. Jack used to sleep at the head of Baba's bed and Jill at the feet. After 3 years of this samipya, Jack breathed his last lying on Baba's lap. His end too was worthy of his life. The previous night, Jack had followed the chauffeur of a car which was parked across the river of Karnata Nagepali. He lay quietly under the car, all unknown to the occupants, for Jack had a way of volunteering to keep watch over the cars, which in those days had to be parked so far away from the mandir. His tiny bark used to keep off the village urchins, but that morning, when the car moved off, Jack was nearly killed. He had sufficient strength, says Baba, to drag himself along the riverbed back to the mandir. He mustered some strength and pulled himself onto the lap of Baba. With his eyes glued on Baba's face and tail shaking feebly in joy, Jack concluded his brave but blessed earthly career. Jill could not leave alone. She followed him in a few weeks. Both of them are buried in the center of Quadangle behind the old mandir, and a Brindavan Tulsi structure had been built over the mortal's remain. Chitty and Billy, Lily and Billy, were two other Pomeranian couples that followed. Then there were Cocker Spaniels, Minnie and Mickey, as well as Honey and Goldie. Baba fondled these for some years and later gave them over to devotees, but inquires even now after their welfare. Baba has done some Alsatians too, has had some Alsatians too, like Rover and Rita, and after them, for some time, Tommy and Henry. These animal bhaktas have received the tenderness and love of Baba in great measure. We, to whom the animal world is both different and numb, have to learn just this one lesson while observing his affection for them, never to harm any animal brother for the sake of sustenance or pleasure, and always to look upon all created things as belonging to one family. Baba always speaks of the element of destiny, or prakti, as he calls it, and says that if some animal or man earns his grace, it is due to prakti, or destiny. But he always adds to his grace can be earned by sadhana, or disciplined life, self-control, selfless service, and of all are symbolizing Narayana himself. Just as an examiner judges the answer papers of candidates, the Lord too values our achievements. But if the answers reveal earnest study and an active interest in the subject, as well as a grasp of methodology of the science involved, the examiner will forgive even a poor performance, so far as the actual answer material is concerned. It has been the experience of many that sometimes, in spite of the tremendous efforts they make, they are not able to go to Puttaparthi, but most often, as soon as they plan a visit, everything becomes available quickly and all the obstacles get automatically removed. Baba says that without his will, no one can start or starting reach the place where he is. His omniscience and omnipresence are revealed to everyone who meets him in the interview room. He tells him that what he said or did or felt, whom he spoke to, and what he feared and plotted, what he suffered and lost. If you want to consult him on 10 points, he will, even before you open your mouth, have answered 12 or 15. He reveals what you even dream during sleep and repeat even the very words which in the dream you had heard him say. He will lay bare your history, down to the minutest detail, and where there was sorrow and weakness, he will feel joy and strength. He is tireless in his ministry of compassion, says Principal H.S. Rao. Baba's words do not merely soothe, but also up new levels of consciousness and reveal the hidden strength and goodness of one's nature. The Bhakta is enabled by his grace to know himself, to realize more keenly his duties, responsibilities, and even shortcomings. All this he does in the most natural, patting you affectionately on the back, his eyes lit up with a merry twinkle and speaking word that you can understand. Yet there's such power in what he utters, such depth of conviction that you're left speechless at the omniscience of Baba and his miraculous perception of your individual problems and needs. Thus does Prasanti Nilayam rebuild mankind, thus does the presence of Baba urge mankind onward. From Cape to Kailanmarg, Baba encourages everyone to appreciate the beauties of nature. He directs attention to the charm of the flower, the colorful magnificence of a sunrise or sunset, the grim grandeur of an outcast sky, the timorous twinkling of the stars in the midnight sky, or the moving jasmine garland of cranes in flight. The ninth All India Divine Life Convention held in Venkatagiri in 1957 was a landmark in the Dharmic campaign of Bhagwan, for he presided over the deliberations and sounded the clarion call of sadhana and spiritual regeneration. Swami Satchidananda, the organizing secretary of the branches of the Divine Line Society, later confessed that when the news that Baba was to preside reached him at Tiruvannamalai, he was taken aback, for on inquiry there he learned that he was versed only in magic and he was a poor speaker at best. But said Swami Satchidananda, discovered soon that my informant was profoundly ignorant. On the opening day of the convention, the town was filled to overflow with delegates, visitors, and devotees, including large numbers of sannyasis from far away Rishikesh and places like Rajamundry, Kalahastri, and Madras. A gorgeous flower bedak palanquin was placed at the main gate of the Ventagiri Palace for Baba to proceed to the theatre where the inaugural session was to be held. But when he came out and saw that the symbol of pomp, he refused the honor in spite of the entreaties of the Raja, because he said, there are so many sannyasis here and I would like to walk with him. It was indeed a distinguished galaxy of monks like Sadananda, Sachitananda, Atma Swarupananda, and Srinivasananda. Swami Sachitananda hosted the flag of the Divine Line Society, and Swami Sadananda, author of Sanmarga Deepam, Mahashakti, and books like a commentary on Patanjali Yoga Darshana, inaugurated the convention. Some misguided individuals had earlier distributed leaflets in which they had charged Baba with partially to the rich and the aristocratic, later realizing that even while they were thrusting the scandal down the pockets of the townsmen, Baba had refused the pageantry of a position and was walking the very road upon which they were spreading their nefarious falsehood. In fact, Swami Sadananda referred to this leaflet and made plain how absurd it was in view of what happened in the morning. He congratulated the delegates and organizers of the good luck in securing Baba to guide them to the path of divine life. In his presidential speech, Baba said that divine light was the inspiration, the motive force, the be-all, the end-all of everything in creation, from the microcosm to the macrocosm, from the Anu to the Brihat. Divine life is a rain that falls from the clouds of Satya, Prema, and Ahishma. It comprises all acts done in pursuit of the reality to attain the reality behind this elusive variety. Divinity, he said, is inherent in and immanent in every individual as butter in milk. Just as we churn milk to separate the butter, man must churn his mind with good deeds and good company. Between the eternal spirit and the evanescent world, the mind of man oscillates, and so is this the duty of societies like the Divine Life Society to fill the minds of its members with holiness and help in removing the dross of passion and lust. For this transformation, everyone is a worthy candidate, and the taste of that bliss is the same for all. The society, Baba said, should endeavor to further this process of equal love for all. It should strive to wipe out the root causes of anxiety, sorrow, and ignorance. The next morning, when the convention met at the theater, Baba said, Hindu religion could survive the series of onslaughts and cultural upheavals and foreign invasion only through the efforts of her spiritual leaders who stood watch over the treasures of Hinduism and established the creative principle of Sanatan Dharma again and again in the hearts of the people. He said that he wanted to light the lamp of Prema in every heart, and he advised everyone to preserve an atmosphere of reverence of love. Speaking to the three gunas, Baba illustrated the nature of all three by a simple simile, which clarified the whole issue. He said, pointing to a kerosene lamp, that the glass chimney was the Satyaguna, the soot inside the Tamoguna, and the dust outside Rajoguna. The next day, at the special gathering of delegates, Baba appealed to them to cultivate single-minded devotion to their Guru and to demonstrate in their life the divine life to which they had dedicated their lives. When the meeting was later converted to a public session by the admission of an eager throng of visitors, Baba spoke for an hour, exhorting all to lead lives of devotions and surrender. What would you like to be in the hands of the Lord? He asked, and he himself suggested the answer, the flute. He wanted everyone to be straight without any crookedness, hollow without any pride or individuality or will or idea of self, to inhale only the breath of God, to transmute that breath into melodious music that converts on every fleeting moment the joy of eternity. Swami Sadananda spoke of communion with God, or rather, he communed with Baba and spoke with the communion prompted him to say, for he confessed he was only saying what Baba was making him speak. After him rose a great Pandit, famed throughout Andhra Pradesh for the many Vedantic books, and he had written and the translation into Telugu of the Upanishad, the Brahma Sutras, and the Bhagavad Gita. He spoke on the abstrusest problem in Indian philosophy, who am I? Critics say that their Advaitic attitudes makes men overworldly and unpoetic, but this scholar was poet enough to appreciate Baba's picturization of the flute on Krishna's lips, for he dilated with pleasure on the ideal which Baba held out and quoted a few Sanskrit slokas on the Murali. He began his discourses with a personal statement. He said, I came to Venkatagiri for this conference primarily to meet Sri Satya Sai Baba. For I had heard all kind of version of greatness and I jumped eagerly at the chance to test all those versions. In short, I came to defy. And I'm going back defied. I'm happy to confess this before you and apologize to Baba for my error. This is just another instance of the fog of misunderstanding disappearing before the warmth of Bhagwan's presence. Baba moved freely among the sadhus and scholars and gave each one of them long interviews before he departed from Venkatagiri. Swami Sachidananda told the present writer, I was called in second. As soon as I went in, Baba embraced me and said he was happy to see me. He even spoke of a rare yogic vision that I had the good fortune to experience 37 years ago and congratulated me on the steady pursuit of yogic sadhana, which culminated in that vision. But he turned around on me immediately and cheated me for squandering my time and energy on efforts to establish ashrams to collect funds, meet people, and discuss plans and programs. When I attempted to justify my present activities as contributing ultimately to the welfare of the world, he laughed and asked, have you not heard that good thoughts and waves of yogic wisdom have a way of emanating from a great soul and overcoming all obstacles, shaping and changing the thought current of others? He advised me to retire into solitude and resume my my yogic sadhanas, and he assured me he would provide me succor and sustenance wherever I chose to be. This point of view was never placed before me in such clear and authentic words, and I was very much touched by his love and his mercy. I was surprised that he knew an intimate secret experience of mine which dated some years previous to his coming, and I made bold to put him a question on that. He answered me with another question: am I born and do I die? It was indeed a unique experience for all. The interview, the diagnosis of the deepest doubt, the prescription of appropriate remedies, the assurance of continued grace, the weighing of achievement in the balance of progress, and the revelation of omniscience and omnipresence. When Baba returned to Puttaparthi, he was joined by Swami Sadhananda and Swami Sachidananda. They were all eager to spend some time in the divine presence. I remember an evening when Baba took Swami Sadananda for a natural spring among the hills that lie behind the Nilayam. For I was also one of the party. Sitting beside the spring, Baba spoke of the existence of Chaitanya in a man, beast, vegetable, and stone, and Swami Sadananda was quoting passages from the Upanishads to show that the same ideas were to be found in our ancient texts. Suddenly, Baba assumed an authoritative tone and declared, "You call them ancient? I knew them all. I am beyond space and time." The discourse then drifted to Shaivism and the Linga and the significance of the symbol. For the Sadananda had written a thesis, the origin and early history of South Indian Shaivism. While at the Madras University, it was Tamil's New Year Day, and Baba gave everyone a poli, a sweet preparation with every Tamil housewife needs to prepare on that auspicious day. He got them by a mere wave of the hand. When Baba went within a few days for a short stay at Kodaikanal, Swami Sadananda and Swami Sachidananda also joined the party. The 6 weeks on the hills provided a large number of opportunities to the sannyasis to receive Baba's grace in ample measure. They were able to catch a glimpse of Baba's unique divinity. Swami Sachidananda spoke about this at a meeting at Puttaparthi on the occasion of the inauguration of the Tapovan on the 29th of June 1957. He said that whatever others may take Baba to be, he was convinced from personal experience that he was Chitgana Murti, Sarvagna, Sarvantayamin, and Sarvo Bhutaratma. I'm sorry if I make a mistake there. He even described how he got so convinced. He was in Baba's room one afternoon in the bungalow on Kodaikanal. Baba was reclining on his bed. Suddenly he stood up and shouted, "Don't shoot," in Telugu, and felt upon the bed in what is called a trance, but is best described as going on a transcorporeal journey. His body became stiff and remained in that condition for about an hour. When he returned and took charge of his physical frame, he looked at those around him and wanted a telegram sent urgently to an address at Bhopal. He dictated the message and the address. It ran, "Don't worry, the revolver is with me, Baba." Swami Sachidananda expressed a doubt whether the postal authorities would accept the message for transmission, for it spoke of revolvers which came under the Arms Act. Others too supported him, and there were some argument pro and con. Baba wanted that they should go quickly to Bhopal, and alternative words to bypass the wars were discussed. Swami Sachidananda suggested the word instrument for revolver, and Baba agreed, and it would convey the meaning intended so far as the recipient was concerned. The wire went quick and fast to Bhopal, 1,000 miles away. Everyone was anxious to know what the nature of the averted tragedy was, but Baba parried all attempts to draw the information from him. But on the fourth day, a letter arrived over Paul, which was read out to all, a letter revealing that Baba was indeed the Lord who had saved Gajendra and Prahlada and come to the rescue of Draupadi. The writer of the letter had served in the Second World War and was high in government service. He was very much upset by the administrative rearrangements following the reorganization of states for persons far junior in service were hoisted on top of him. He had no one nearby to assuade or comfort or even to listen to his tale of woe. His wife was away at her parents' village. Distracted by the unlucky turn in his career, he decided to end his humiliation by means of a revolver. There was one handy. He tried one shot just to see whether his hand would be steady for the fatal second. But before he could shoot next, Baba had shouted, "Don't shoot." And then there was a loud bang at the door. Baba had come. Not as Baba, of course, but as an old college mate accompanied by his wife and a chaprasi, which had trunk and a whole all to make picture complete in every detail. The officer ran into the bedroom, placed the revolver on the bed, threw a sheet over it, hurried back in front of the hall, adjusted the lineaments of the new situation, and opened the door. There, lo and behold, were the free-form soap one ready to play their part. The college chum was very boisterous and demonstrative. Baba had become the instantaneous materialization of a friend who had just the qualities that remove melancholy and could give the officer the tonic that would cure him of despair. Responded to the treatment and became quite normal very soon. He even smiled and laughed at the jokes of his old friend. And as the conversation proceeded, all thoughts of suicide melted away. The lady too joined in the talk, and when they discovered that the mistress of the house was away, the visitor put on an air of profound disappointment and said that he would prefer to stay with another friend. In spite of the appeals of the person whom he had saved, the friend departed 45 minutes after he materialized with the lady, the chaprasi, the trunk, and the whole, all thus drawing down the curtain on the excellent dramatic performance. After seeing them off, the officer hurried to the bedroom. He was struck to find that the revolver was not there. No anywhere in the house. Who could have removed it? He had gone to Puttaparthi once and his wife was an ardent devotee. Could it be Baba? Ah, it must be him. There, could it be that those visitors were also he? He locked his house and went in the hot haste to the address on which the college mate said he would be going. He got his doubt confirmed. There was no one there. The three visitors had melted into thin air with the trunk and the whole all. Back home, he was turning over in his memory the stunning event that had happened that day. When he was startled by another knock at the door, it was the telegraph messenger. The wire from Kodaikanal. "Don't worry, the instrument is with me, Baba." Swami Sachidananda said that this incident is much stranger than the Parakaya Pravesham extolled in Puranas. Parakaya Pravesham is entering into an existing body of something disembodied, but this is Kayashistry, the creation at the very moment of willing of free Kayas or body and making the bodies act the roles. The impersonation of existing individuals correct to the minutest details of voice and accent, gait and gesture, idiom and idiosyncrasy, and the recitation of incidents and anecdotes relating to decades past when they were both students of the same college. This, said Swami Sachidananda, is possible only for an avatar of the Lord. No wonder that he and Swami Sadananda wrote to the Guru, Swami Shivananda Saraswati at Rishikesh, about Baba and his divine attributes. The two Swamis also accompanied Baba to Cape Comorin when he proceeded to that place from Kodaikanal. They had a glimpse of Baba's universal message when they saw him taking a rosary from the Holy Cross and the figure of Jesus Christ in order to bless a padre. When Baba walked along the sands of the seashore of Kanyakumari, Spatika beads formed themselves at each step. These were collected by the devotees and kept in sandalwood receptacles. There were 84 of them, but Baba said there must be 108 in all, and then they counted again, there were 108. A rosary was made out of the miraculously formed Ispatika manis, and Baba gave it to Swami Sadananda himself. After visiting the prayer dam and the wildlife sanctuary there, Baba proceeded to Madurai and Mariam and returned to Puttaparthi via Salem, the place where Swami Satchidananda was staying for some years. And thus, it came about that Baba had soon to reply to a letter of invitation from Swami Sivananda Saraswati, president of the Divine Life Society, Rishikesh. This was very vigorously followed by many reminders and telegrams in quick succession, and Baba agreed at least to proceed to North India. Of course, Baba is not enamored of tours to see places or admire nature, nor has he the urge to go on pilgrimages, for he is himself the goal of all pilgrimages. When a mother once complained to him that her son would not accompany her to Puttaparthi but left for Tirupati instead, he said, "That too is coming to me, for I am not different from he who is on that hill. By mere willing, Baba can be at the farthest corner of the world, for he is beyond space and time," Baba said. "I'm not moved by the craving of a change or for recreation or for travel. But where there's a desire for mental tranquility, I hurry to grant tranquility. Where there is no mutual trust, I hasten to raise the drooping heart. Where there is no mutual trust, I rush to restore trust. I am ever on the move to fulfill the mission for which I have come." Swami Satchidananda wanted to leave earlier for Rishikesh because he told the present writer, "Silly stories about Baba have to be scorched, and my brothers sannyasis have to be apprised of the divinity of Baba." Baba started from Puttaparthi by car on 14 June 1957. He halted at Metkurti, 37 miles from Madanapalli, in order to unveil the silver image of Shirdi Sai Baba at the Ayodhya ashram. A huge concourse of village folks were waiting there since noon, and Baba addressed the assembly for more than an hour. He said that any monk like the building of the ashram carried out in the spirit of devotion without conceit and with no desire for any other profit except the work well done, is tapas in the real sense of the word. Baba condemned the studied neglect of the body as a means of realizing God. It is the tabernacle of the Lord. It is the boat for which one has to cross the ocean of birth and death with the twin oars of Viveka and Vairagya. And so it has to be kept in perfect trim. Turning to the woman who had assembled, he spoke of the need to infuse bhakti, courage, self-respect, and the habit of truth in children. No one need go anywhere in search of Ananda, he said. It is in you, as you spoke. It has only to be fanned into a big flame and fire. He declared that though he could transform the earth into sky and the sky into earth, people who came to him get only what they ask and choose. He said that Viveka and Vairagya could come about by what he called the vicharana of every vichara, that is to say, by the relentless examination of every thought on the touchstone of rightness and truth. The true devotee must conquer the emotions. The true recluse must cultivate intellectual sharpness. The true sevaka must develop strength of mind, he said. The party reached Madras on the 15th of July, and after a stay of 4 days there, Baba said, and the devotees whom he had chosen for the tour, and planned for Delhi on the 20th. He was very much amused when he found his name entered on the ticket as Mr. S.S. Baba. He had a hearty laugh over the Mr. Baba moved about inside the plane, rationing his neighborhood for all the passengers so that everyone would have the privilege. He even granted an interview in the upper air over the Vidyas to a passenger who prayed for the chance because he had by then discovered him. The man was quite surprised when Baba advised him to marry the school teacher whom he loved, for no one he thought knew of this chapter of his life. Baba promised to make his parents agree to the match, giving up their unrelenting opposition. The plane landed at Palam at 4:20 p.m. Within an hour of his arrival at the Sundarnagar bungalow, which had been fixed for his stay, Baba had a call from a devotee at bungalow, and he left the body and hastened to relieve the person from what he afterwards described as a dangerous paralytic stroke. The bhajan twice a day attracted the devotees of Delhi, as well as the friends and relatives to whom the devotees were all along describing the glory of their Guru. Baba also granted interviews to a very large number of people, during which, as usual, he diagnosed their trouble and vouchsafed his grace. On 22nd of July, Baba left New Delhi by car for Rishikesh. Swami Shivananda's sannyasi disciples escorted Baba from Haridwar itself, and when he reached Shivananda Nagar at 6:30 p.m., Swami Shivananda called a special gathering of the inmates of the ashram and offered Baba a hearty welcome. While Shivananda greeted Baba with folded hands as is his wont, Baba acknowledged the greeting with the Abba Hasta, a mudra that confers Shanti on thousands of troubled souls. Shivananda Nagar wrestles on the lap of evergreen mountains, fondled lovingly by the kindly right arm of Mother Ganga. The left bank of the river, when it comes into view occasionally as the curtain of mist is wafted away by passing wind, is resplendent with a line of temples, mosques, and edifices housing the Gita Bhavan, the Swargasram, the Paramanta Niketan, etc. But more impressive than these reminders of men in both homesicknesses or the forest-clad mountains on every side that seems like superhuman sages lost in silent contemplation of the infinite. They have averted their eyes inward and blissfully unaware of history. There is also Ganga, daughter of earth and sky, led into Bharatavarsha by the penance of a prince who, in effort to propitiate his ancestors, succeeded also in ensuring prosperity and salvation to his children and children's children forever and forever. Ganga, famed in law and legend, sought after in every Hindu home since thousands of years to sanctify every ritual, to purify every rite, to exorcise every effort, to cleanse every sin, immortalized in poetry, symbolized in art, embedded in architecture, idealized in sculpture, humanized in painting, extolled in music, reversed as a vehicle of bliss, whose scintillating story is related by a million mothers every nightfall to the toddlers on their lips. Ganga rose majestically by reminding everyone of India's message and India's grandeur. When the Asramites arranged a satsang the next day and requested Baba to give them a sandesha, he referred to the Ganga, comparing it to a sannyasi speeding to the sea. He said that every river knew in his heart of hearts that it has come from the sea and is prompted by the knowledge to hurry towards the sea, irrespective of all the obstacles of the earthly terrain. He commented the quietness of Shivananda Nagar and said that it was a good place to acquire spiritual quiet too. He said that Ba means creation, Ga means protection, and Ba means change or transformation. Bhagwan is capable of both free. That is my secret, he announced. Speaking of the things he is accustomed to take and give, he discounted all spurious explanation and said that his sankalpa was immediately fulfilled. He materialized them in order to give joy to his devotees, just like a father gives sweets to his little ones. Not to advertise his generosity or his parenthood, he gave them in order to save people from worry or anxiety, to ensure their peace of mind, to help develop spiritual concentration, and in many cases to help his own contact with the charism of the recipients. They were not intended to attract anyone. They were the products neither of mantra nor of tantra. They were produced in just the same way that all articles were produced, only much quicker and instantaneously. They lasted as long as all material objects lasted. My best gift is prema. Devotees should strive to acquire that, as well as viveka and vairagya, which only the Guru can give, said Baba. Baba then materialized by mere wave of his hand a magnificent Rudraksha garland of 108 beads of exquisite workmanship, each bead encased in gold and all the beads strung in gold, with a five-faced king bead in the center. He presented it to Swami Sivananda Saraswati. He also took a large quantity of vibhuti and applied it to himself to the forehead of the sage. In the evening, when Swami entered the satsang hall wearing the unique garland, everyone was struck by its luster and workmanship, as well as the miracle which brought it forth. Swami Shivananda spoke of Bhagavan and his message. He dilated the efficacy of Namasmarana and appealed as a medical practitioner for a daily dose of vairagya to be taken by every person along with the regular diet of the Lord's name. The Ganga figured in the talk that Baba gave that evening also. He began by saying that Naram meant water. The Ganga rolling majestically along was Narayana himself. Indeed, the hills and dales, the sky overhead, the forest, the rocks, all things everywhere but the manifestations of the one. He willed Ikoham Bahusyam, and he became all this. The one sun is reflected in 1,000 pots. If only the pots contain water, the water of bhakti, bhakti itself leads one to jnana. For the bhakta quickly and easily realizes that the Lord is immanent in everything and that he is the one and only. Baba's speeches and conversation were full of rare and deep wisdom that the next day a number of senior monks and brahmacharis came to the residence of Baba and plied him with questions designed to clarify their doubts. They ranged over a variety of topics like the place of Prakriti Dharma, Paramartha Dharma, and Kartavya Dharma in the scheme of the life, the nature of Sunyam and Purnam, the efficacy and limits of Vigraha Aradhana, the existence of spirits, the model operandi of Bhagavad Vasankalpa, etc. Swami Sivananda too had hour-long discussion with Baba every evening throughout his day when they were closeted together. Baba gave the Swami fruits and vibhuti materialized especially for improving his health, and it was noticed that day by day the Swami was getting better and better. Baba one day took Ganges water with his hand and lo, it became sweet and fragrant nectar, and he gave it to the Swami to be taken as drug. It came as a pleasant surprise to many in the ashram when they saw on the day Baba left Swami Shivananda enthusiastically showing him around the various sections of the ashram and even climbing steps and getting downstairs. For on the day Baba reached the ashram and for some days after, the Swami was being taken around in a wheelchair. The 26th of July was full of pleasant memories for devotees as well as the inmates of Shivananda's ashram. For Baba, that day boarded a bus and proceeded along the bank of the Ganges to a place of the Rani of Gatwar for a quiet morning. The scenery all along was indeed very elevating. Here and there among the mountains, one could discern a lonely hut with a gurua flat, indicating someone struggling with the spirit, or a patch of cultivated land, indicating someone battling with the elements. Suddenly, the road turned upon itself, and the bus snorted to a halt in front of an artistic little bungalow, set like a gem in the center of a well-kept garden by the side of the Ganges itself. Baba saw a jambu tree full of fruits like Saint Avyayar Muruga. He plucked the fruit and distributed them among the members of the party. He sat under the tree of the banks of the Ganges and some people asked him questions that were troubling them. There were questions about the nature of Upanishadic teaching and their value in modern lives. He said they were like signs, course indicating the road that has to be traversed in order to experience the joy of reaching the goal. There's one question on Swarga and Naraka, which Baba said did exist in this world itself. Sannyasin inquirers asked about Atma Sansakara at the melting point of Maya, at the point of realization. On the way back, Baba stopped the bus at a place where a thin little iron rod carried a half-distinct nameplate, Vashishta Guha. He proceeded to descend the rather precipitous incline to the riverbank as if he had been there once before, and as if he became aware of the engagement with the occupant of the cave. The Ganga takes a wide curve near the cave. Nearby, a small rivulet pours her offerings into the Ganges, and so the scenery is doubly attractive. The Vashishta Guha bears a hallowed name. It has been sanctified by the austerities performed therein in many great recluses and monks in the past. Swami Purushottamananda, a disciple of Swami Brahmananda of the Ramakrishna order, initiated into sannyas by Mahapurushji, another direct disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, who had been in the cave since 30 years, welcomed Baba as if he too was expecting him. He was more than 70 years old. He had spent the major part of his life in asceticism of a most rigorous kind and in the study of scriptures. His face had the genuine glow of spiritual joy, and the slightest mention of the glory of Godhead sent him to Samadhi. When he was a young man of 27, Brahmanandaji had read his palm at Kanyakumari and predicted that he enter a cave and go on meditating and meditating. Baba reminded him of the travels he enjoyed when he first came into the cave, in his encounter with leopards, cobras, and the 3-day trek to Rishikesh and the desperate struggle for the salt and matchboxes. He spoke of the sickle that came to him through sheer divine intervention. Baba repeated the visit the next evening also, in spite of the rumbling sky and the grumbling of some person who accompanied him. But the rumbling seas and the grumblers were humbled by Baba's grace. The sky became clear and the rain held back. Baba himself sang a number of songs that day in the Vaishishta Guha, and when one of the Swamis attending the Swami Purushottamananda requested him to sing a song of Tyagaraja, he very graciously asked him which of Tyagaraja's kritis he most liked to hear. Swami Kalikananda said that he was longing to hear Sri Raghu Vara Sugunalaya. Baba sang it just to make him happy. No one had heard him sing that song before, and so it was an unexpected piece of good luck for which he would thank Swami Kalikananda. Hearing that Swami was suffering from chronic stomachache since many years, he took some candy from nowhere and gave it to him with instruction about diet, etc. He also gave Purushottamananda a japamala of shining spatika beads, which manifested itself in his hand. But most mysterious and significant was the vision that he granted to Swami Purushottamanda that evening. As early as 1918, Purushottamanda had written to his guru, "All is false, and I cannot rest sanctified until and unless I come face to face with the truth." After sending everyone outside the cave, Baba and the sage went into the inner room. Subbaramaya, president of the Divine Life Society, Venkatagiri, describes what he was able to see from outside the cave. Thus, even now that picture is implemented in my memory. I was standing near the entrance of the cave. I could see what was happening. Baba placed his head on the lap of Swami Purushottamana and then laid himself down. Suddenly, his entire body was bathed in divine brilliance. His head and face appeared to me to have increased very much in size. Rays of splendor emanated from his face. I was overwhelmed with a strange, inexplicable joy. This time was about 10 p.m. When pressed later to divulge the vision, Baba informed us that it was a vision of Jyoti Padmanabha. What supreme karuna! What immeasurable good fortune! Swami Purushottamananda passed away on Shivratri night, 1961, during the Lingodbhava Muhurtam. While returning from the cave, Baba left the body for a short while. 1 hour later, he descended to tell where he had been. He had gone to save a great yogi from a watery grave. This aroused the curiosity of everyone around him, and they gathered closer to hear further details. But he brushed the question aside, and he said that Subramanyam will be able to say so who it was. So some person went in search of Subramanyam, a member of the party, as he was discovered and brought into the picture. Baba asked him what he had been seen that evening while at the Veshista Guha. He begged pardon for not informing Baba immediately about it, for he had seen a corpse floating down the Ganges, but being a thing of evil omen, he refrained from mentioning it in the holy atmosphere of the cave. Baba laughed and said it was not a corpse at all, though the yogi was floating down the flood was so dead to all external occurrences that he did not even recognize his plight. He was being swept down the torrent. It seemed he was seated on a rock by the side of the river, lost in dhyana. The current, meanwhile, was fast eating into the mud underneath the rock, and the rock tilted over, throwing him into the flood. It was all like a dream for him at first, said Baba. Later, when he found that he was being carried away by the Ganga, he began to pray to the Lord. Baba heard his call. He slowly left the floating corpse to the bank, a few miles above Shivananda Nagar, where there was a homestead available to give him warmth and comfort. A devotee who was then at Rishikesh's right, we heard him narrating the incident during the trance. He had his palms one over the other, as if enclosing something. It was to protect the sannyasi's heart that Baba had kept his palm closed. The sadhu was saved after a 30-mile float. If this does not mean Shista Rakshana, preservation, what else does? But then one or more of the following three conditions will be fulfilled before the SOS of the person draws Baba's attention. He must either have something from Baba in the form of a Raksha for protection, or he should call on the Lord, heart and soul, whatever danger threatens him. In case the person in distress fails to qualify himself in either of these two ways, he should at least be a man of truth and sincerity. It does not matter if he is no devotee, and in calling upon Bhagwan, no particular name is essential. Rama, Krishna, Jesus, Allah, Sai, be it any. All names of all and all forms being his and his alone, he is only too ready to answer the cry of the one in distress and to avert it. The sadhu was no devotee of Baba, nor had he ever seen him. At the same time, wasn't his life saved? The incident of the unknown yogi was a great revelation to many of Baba's universal love and presence. Baba's cottage at Rishikesh was busy throughout his stay, with his inmates of the ashram and the students of the academy gathering there and plying him with questions on sadhana, japa, and dhyana, and the unceasing train of pilgrims who discovered that Rishikesh had acquired another focus of holiness. The reputed scholar Saint Sri Shrad Darshanacharya Swami came twice with his disciples and students. Swami Sadhanas and Satchitananda found themselves surrounded by eager inquirers wanting more and more information regarding Baba, his life, his glory, his Prashanti Nilayam at Puttaparthi. The present writer heard Swami Sadhananda reply to a young brahmachari that Baba can roam at will through Atma Loka, Prana Loka, and Jiva Loka. And so he can reveal whatever happens anytime, anywhere, at any time. He is Shirva Shakta. He had himself seen the Swami said Baba converting a grain of rice into a grain of ivory and transforming that grain of ivory into 108 elephant figurines, each one finely carved and clearly recognizable by means of magnifying glass. Baba took leave of Swami Sivan on 28th of July and left for New Delhi. On the 30th, he proceeded by car to Mathura, Vrindavan, the scene of his Leela in the past, and the devotees was eagerly looking forward to the opportunity of seeing him in that background and of being with him in that atmosphere charged with fragments of the Mahabhagavata. The devotees left New Delhi in a bus which made a devour via Aligarh and broke down near a small hamlet some 20 miles beyond Aligarh. A spare bus had to be requisitioned, and by the time it arrived at Mathura was reached, it was nearly 3:30 p.m. The party was exhausted, hungry, and depressed. But Baba, kinder than any mother, welcomed and consoled and looked after them so tenderly and so lovingly that to many among the party the breakdown seemed positively worthwhile. He comforted them with his own characteristically sweet words of solace. Come nearer to the fan. Stretch yourselves a little. Do not stand up when I count. Here, I have prepared this cool drink specially for you. Take this, you're awfully tired, he said, while tending to them in a trice they were restored to their former energy. Baba led them to all the bank of the Yamuna, as if he knew every inch of the place and pointed out the hallowed localities. Who can say that reminiscences were activating the consciousness of Baba as he showed the places where the serpent was humbled, the gopis were chided, the cart was overturned, the twin trees were uprooted. Every little wave of the Yamuna seemed to dance to the music of his voice. Every cow that was seen seemed to be seeking the warm touch of his divine hand. While returning towards Mathura, Baba casually walked into a Radha Shyam temple. Arrangements were being made in front of the temple for Rasalila show. When Baba went and stood in front of the shrine, suddenly the lights went off. Everyone wondered why. Everyone wondered why. Baba then said, "Don't worry, we should take this Radha Shyam to Delhi and you can do bhajan there." He waved his hand across the door of the shrine where one could see the lovely marble image of Radha Shyam in the dim religious light, and lo, there materialized in his palm an idol, an exact replica of the Radha Shyam installed inside. On the second day of August 1957, Baba left for Srinagar by plane and reached the Kashmir Valley at 12 noon. From the air, one could see the complicated network of canals that feed the Punjab plain, the golden temple of Amritsar, and the rugged approaches to the Banihal Pass and the Kashmir Valley. Once the pass is crossed, the enchanting loveliness of the valley had aroused the covetousness of monarchs from as far as Macedonia and Mongolia spreads itself before the eye. The gurgling waters, the long rows of pine trees, the luscious greenness of the grass, and the signs of quiet toil filled the mind with joy. Though the head of the Sankaracharya Mutt of Srinagar pressed Baba to accept his hospitality and take up residence at the Mutt, Baba preferred to stay in a houseboat with his party occupying two neighboring boats. Alexandra Palace was the name of the boat which he occupied. The other stayed with the Prince of Kashmir and the King Roses. Baba encourages everyone to appreciate the beauties of nature. He directs attention to the charm of a flower, the colorful magnificence of a sunrise or sunset, the green grandeur of the overcast sky, the timorous twinkle of the stars in the midnight sky, or the moving jasmine garland of cranes in flight. So he took the party to the Salimar and Nishat Bagh gardens in the evening. But as he embarked while returning to the houseboat, the snow-capped Himalayas In the far distance was a far lovelier bag, designed by the Lord to draw men's eyes away from the valleys in which they wallowed. You want me
Thank
to?
you. No, no, we'll end here. Thank you so much for the wonderful reading. Now let's end this reading with Sai Gayatri and Samastaloka.
Okay.
ॐ साई ईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात् ॐ साई ईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात् ॐ साई ईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु